Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Human Echoes podcast.
I'm Albert Berg.
I'm Tony Southcott.
I'm tired, too.
That's because you're going on
Dear
vacation.
Lord, this has been a messed up week.
You got like a real vacation happening. What's that like?
I don't know. I haven't been on it yet. I'm still here recording this podcast.
Oh, the sacrifices we make. I was just going to call it Brophy, but we got this video podcast thing going, and something tells me Brophy's not prepped for live TV yet.
Yeah, he could hold his iPad up and record himself.
Then
that
again,
way.
I'm not really either. Every week, it's like another 15 minutes of Al sitting there, like waiting patiently for me to start things up properly.
I didn't want to bring that up, but yes, that's also a factor. It's a lot of work, and then I get to edit this on my vacation, Tony. Whee!
Yep.
So
Let's get that laptop time, seeing if it works for giant video files.
I mean, I've edited video on here before. I haven't done the multicam thing. But since this is not my primary computer anymore, I was going through yesterday and just like deleting all the stuff that I could think of that's like, I don't play games on here anymore because I have a gaming PC. I don't do, this and this and this. So just delete, and leave like only the bare essentials for video editing and whatnot.
Yeah. Where are you headed to anyway?
Florida?
Ah, one of those vacations.
Well, okay, so here's the deal, Tony. I live in the upper tippy top left part of Florida. It's shaped like a wang, right?
Yeah,
I'm
you
way
live.
up by the ball sack.
Yeah.
Okay.
Except there is no ball sack. It's kind of weird.
So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna head down towards the tip and go into the jizz that's coming out of the tip.
You're gonna be down the Keys.
A little bit, yeah. So I'm making a road trip thing, right? So we're gonna go to like. There's a place that's about 5 hours here called Jacksonville that has some cool stuff we're going to do, like a zoo and a museum. And then we're going to go to St. Augustine, which is the oldest continuously inhabited city in the U.S. So there's cool, like, ancient stuff there. Ancient being, like, 200 years old because it's America.
Yeah.
And then we're going to travel down the outside of the coast, maybe go to Cape Canaveral. Not sure yet. Definitely the main thing I'm going for. And I haven't talked about this on the podcast in a while, so I'll tell new listeners if they haven't heard of Coral Castle. You guys should go check out Coral Castle. It's pretty legit.
Yeah,
Edward
there's
Leeds
something so
Gallman.
cool about kind of crazy old men that want to build castles here.
Well, his story is particularly cool, though, because he's like, I'm in love with this Agnes chick. I want her to come and live with me. She's not into me because I'm like 20 years older than her. But I'm, like, it's seriously, like, I don't know if he was 20 or, he was quite a bit older than her. She was 16 at the time, and he was from, like, Bulgaria or something. And he decides he's going to come to Florida, dig up, like, he tells her, I'm going to build a castle for you, and you're going to come and live with me. And he has this, like, romantic ideal. He was the old school, like, Redditor in a fedora, but he wasn't, like, lazy in front of his computer. He thought that he could win the girl by building a frickin' castle. So he built a frickin' castle, Tony, by himself, by
He's
hand.
a knight with a castle. It counts
At
for
night,
something.
too. He didn't want anybody to see how he did it, so there's all these, like, secret, weird people think he could, like, levitate the rocks and, they, had the secrets of the Egyptians in his head. It's a cool story. It's a really cool story that this guy loved this girl. It was unrequited, but somewhere in his lonely mind, he thought, if I build this castle, she will come. And he built the castle, and she never came. He lived out the rest of his days alone in this giant stone coral castle that he built with his own hands at night.
You think it had cable?
I don't think cable existed in the 1930s, Tony.
Ah, it was the 30s. I thought you were saying like the 60s.
It was way back in the day. It may even been before that. It's pretty old.
Yeah, the castle we've got out here is like made by a hermit that's pretty much the same, but he's still alive. He's making it bigger and bigger every year.
Is he waiting for some lady to come and live with him?
I don't know if he is. Like, it's called Bishop's Castle, and he basically just keeps adding on, and you can actually have your wedding and stuff in it now. Like, you can go and book it for those sorts of events.
You could probably do that with Coral Castle as well. Honestly, it's not the nicest looking place, but he has all these giant, like, rock sculptures in there that he built himself. There's a swinging gate that they said was, like, perfectly balanced the way he built it.
Yeah.
It's just this amazing, amazing feat of individual architecture. Like, there are better buildings out there, The Empire State Building, compared to Coral Castle, Yeah, Crow Castle does not win that one. But buildings built by one single person by himself, and then moved, by the way. Tony, did I mention to you that he had to move it? He
How far
had
do
to
you have to
move
move?
the castle because he originally built it in one place and there was some property dispute or something, so he loaded all the rocks up onto a truck and toted them to Homestead, Florida, where he rebuilt it again.
The guy that built Bishop's Castle just built it on public land because he's kind of anti-government and he doesn't think they should be able to claim the land as theirs.
Okay. How's that
So
working out for him?
There's some litigation.
Is it like
But it's
public land, or is it like state park kind of land? I mean, it's
It's
not. He
state-
didn't like go and build it in like the children's playground in the middle of
No,
Colorado.
it's like state land, like
Okay.
state park
Okay, so it's like in the woods.
or national forest. I think is what it's actually on.
I would just wait for him to die and just be like, "This is our castle now, free tourism." That's what my strategy would be.
That's
Just
his
like
death
don't
tax. He
rustle the
loses his
feathers too
castle.
much. Do what?
His entire death tax is just the state claims a castle. The state of Colorado is the only state that has a true castle anymore.
I do kind of like that attitude, though. It's like all these other people are getting their property taken away by eminent domain, so that other stuff can get built. There was a whole big deal back when I was really into politics. There was a huge kerfuffle because in New York, they seized the property of some guys for eminent domain, just so they could give it to a business.
Yeah,
Because they wanted to, and that was like a huge, just like, wait a minute. That's not how this works. You don't take property from people to give it to other people. You, like, if you got to build a road, we understand, but anyway, so, like, I think, I like this guy just, like, striking back and be like, I'm eminent domaining this for my castle. Ding! Problem is that they have more guns than you do, so ultimately, you're gonna lose if they really decide to push the issue.
Yeah, it would take some pretty hefty eminent domain. They'd have to try to take something in Texas before that would fail. Be like some Waco action.
What, like where they... No, yes, but I'm saying reverse eminent domain is never going to happen, Tony.
Yeah.
I'm not going to ever be able to go up to the government, to like, City Hall and be like, this little corner of property, I really need it, guys, to put my lemonade stain on, so I am claiming this property. I will give you fair market value for it, but it is mine now. You can't do nothing about it. That does not happen. They say no, and they just turn you away.
One of the only times I've heard of something like that happening is whenever Wells Fargo messed up a guy's loan, and they wouldn't pay him back, so he put a lien on their building and just took over this Wells Fargo location because they took his house.
Yes, and it was unjust.
Yeah,
Right?
it was
Like,
unjust, and the court determined that basically he could put a lien and take over the property of this Wells Fargo location.
That was I've heard that story, and that's a fun story. That's one of those stories that pops up on Reddit every once in a while. Where they're like, "Yeah, the little man."
Yeah, today I learned sometimes you can beat Wells Fargo.
But not Comcast.
Yeah,
Like,
I've been okay with Wells Fargo. They haven't screwed me over yet. Not like the last
you use
bank.
a big major bank, Tony?
I do. I'm thinking about switching over to a local credit union, but I have to pay off my car first, and that's through Wells Fargo's loan program.
You can still switch your bank account to a different place.
I know, but I kind of, like I said, they haven't screwed me yet. My
Okay.
last bank, I went $30 over, and it happened in 4 transactions, so they charged me $750 in fees, and they wouldn't remove any of them.
But they haven't screwed you yet, Tony, so that's good.
No, that's my last bank.
Oh, okay.
That's why I left them. But yeah, I'm thinking about going over to a local credit union soon.
Yeah, I've had good luck. Like, every once in a while, we'll go over with our credit union, and as long as you go down like my wife will usually catch it, and be like, we went over. Not very often, but occasionally we've had it happen. And usually, if you go down there, if you have the money, you can go down there and be like, I accidentally went over. Can I please pay it off? They'll like take off the fee and stuff. They're very cool, very local-ish type bank. So, very, very happy with their service.
For sure. You know what really broke the bank, though, was the special effects on this movie.
Hey, listen, okay, I don't want to disparage the special effects in Poseidon Rex too much, which is the movie we're talking about this week.
I actually did not mind like the dinosaur effects. The thing that always bothers me is when people don't use blanks and they just animate like a gun firing, and people are just like, "Oh, I'm gonna shake the gun, and that's gonna convince people it's firing," even though bullets aren't or casings aren't flying out. All that sort of thing.
That's expensive, Tony. You didn't realize blanks cost money.
Yeah.
Money
But
is not something that the people making this movie had very much of.
You know what costs a little bit of money? Authenticity.
They didn't want. You're making a movie about a giant freaking swimming dinosaur, Tony. I get they came up with the concept, and authenticity had walked out of the room. It left. It's like, nope, I'm done with you people. And they're like, well, I guess that settles our budget now. Can make it for a lot cheaper. So that's Steven Spielberg making this movie.
I think part of the reason why I can just never get into these is the little things like that, because I can never get immersed in the story when I'm like, that's phony.
It's not.
That's
no,
dumb.
okay, you're not supposed to get immersed in the story of Poseidon Rex. You're just supposed to have a giant grin on your face every time Ann McDaniels is on screen.
Oh, that's pretty easy. That's a pretty quality special effect.
Yes, exactly. See, you spend your money on Ann McDaniels, and that makes she's on screen half the movie, and it's not just that she's pretty. Okay, like that is definitely a factor, but there's something about her that's just charming.
Yeah, there definitely is, and I think that some doctors might have helped with some practical effects, but
I don't.
Okay.
Hey, whoa! I don't want to make that assertion, Tony.
No, she's beautiful. She's funny. She's good.
I'm not saying 100% it's not true, but I don't know anything about that. It's everything seemed fine to me in that department.
Well, I'm not one to complain about that. I'm just saying it might have happened.
Okay.
Plus, I was just thinking about this. Like, you were in Belize, or was it Belize or Bolivia? Belize.
What? I wasn't in Bolivia or Belize.
No, the movie was filmed in Belize.
Oh, okay. Yeah, some island nation somewhere.
Yeah, even though everybody was speaking with a Jamaican accent. But anyway, like they were even saying Irie and everything. But you're in Belize. You probably could have just gone out a little ways and used real bullets instead of buying blanks and just shot into the ocean. That's what I would have done.
First of all, contamination by lead, Tony. You gotta think about that. Secondly, the real bullets still cost money.
They cost like $1 a shot.
Okay. You're talking about machine guns that are shooting off many, many rounds every shot. You probably have to do multiple takes. Although probably not that many takes on this movie. Stop complaining about this. Let's talk about how freaking cool that dinosaur was.
Another thing about this is, like, if you're gonna do an aquatic dinosaur type thing, why would you choose Poseidon Rex and not one of the other crazy, awesome, like, aquatic monsters you had during that same era?
Because all the other monsters end up being just like a big shark type thing,
or a big crocodile type thing, like what they have.
And that's not cool, Tony. T-Rex is cool. My you know what my biggest beef with this movie is?
What's that?
The abbreviation for Poseidon Rex is P-Rex.
Yeah.
And that does not work. And they say it multiple times in the movie. They're like, we got the P-Rex coming. It's like, oh, really? P-Rex? Come on, guys. Say something. Just say the whole name. Just say the thing, the dinosaur. You know, it's okay.
And whenever you're getting hunted by P-Rex, you don't have time to say Poseidon Rex.
Okay. You know what I was a little bit disheartened, maybe not disheartened by, but Ann McDaniel's obviously the main lead scientist lady in this. Not maybe the greatest actress in the history of Hollywood ever, but they give her the most ridiculous lines to say.
Yeah.
So yeah, she has to deliver this thing about like they pick up this guy who has been attacked by the P-Rex, but he doesn't know it. He just knows that like some stuff blew up, that he blew up, and then his buddies are dead. And first she like
chomped.
What?
They got chomped hard.
Yeah, they did. Like limbs and stuff flying everywhere. But first he wakes up and she gives him the entire rundown of the movie so far. Of like, oh, hey, by the way, these guys were out there, they found you, and you were unconscious, and you said no hospital, so we brought you here, and like, he knows. We just saw that 2 seconds ago, and that was a dumb line, and then he tells them about his buddies being killed, and she's like, there could be a giant creature out there. What makes you jump to that conclusion? That, they were hanging out with gangsters looking for illegal Aztec gold. And your first idea is maybe it's some kind of undiscovered sea creature. I will go find it for science.
I mean, that's always my first assumption when you're talking about the ocean. There's some legitimate monsters out there.
I guess. I would be cool to see like some other animal like we never saw any other fishes. It would be neat to see, like, they're getting menaced by a shark, and then Poseidon Rex just, like swallows a shark whole.
Yeah, they showed a shark for a second.
They showed a lot of, like, stock footage underwater stuff, and I'm talking, like, actually interacting with it.
Yeah, for sure. Like, anytime, like, that's one of the things the Asylum's always done, though, is, like, anytime they need a jet, stock footage time.
Hey, they have some pretty quality CG jet animations, Tony. They can make their jets go where they need to go.
Some quality smoke animations.
But I like this movie. I thought that, for one thing, we always talk about the length of a movie, not everything it's welcome. This one's like an hour and 20 minutes, if that. Yeah. It's super short.
It never made me feel like gross watching it. Like that's always a perk. It wasn't like a Mega Shark versus Gatoroid or whatever. Like I legitimately enjoyed some parts of it. I'm not as enthusiastic as you are towards it, obviously, but it didn't make me angry or sad or depressed just by watching it. Like the people that actually were on screen looked like they were having fun with it.
They really did. And that was one thing. Like Anne McDaniel's in this movie smiles a lot. Like, when maybe she's not supposed to be smiling, and some of the actors do, too. And that's part of what, I guess, endears it to me, is just, like, these guys are having fun. Like, they get to be in a movie where they're being chased by a giant dinosaur, and maybe it probably didn't cost that much to make, and they're not getting paid that much. But at the very least, they're, like, not like, oh, I gotta be here on this stupid movie.
At the very least, they got a free trip to Belize.
Well, yeah, that's true.
Although some of it looked like it was kind of like Northern California or something at certain points, but I thought I read that most of it was in Belize, but the behind-the-scenes stuff was a little bit sparser for this movie. I don't have the DVD to see it.
I feel like that they used some actual locals for some of the acting jobs.
Yeah.
Especially like the gang members.
That one cop, that was pretty dry acting there.
He was an actual policeman who came like, do you have a permit? And they're like, no, but you want to be in our movie? He's like, I will be in Hollywood movie. Giant. I don't know why I'm doing a Russian accent.
It was more like, I will
get chased by dinosaur and get jumped.
Oh, the policia.
But yes, I as simple as this movie is, they also do that thing where, like, the military is three guys in a warehouse in front of a table. That's a standard trope for all of these sort of really low budget B movies. You got to have somebody representing the military, but they can't get a bunch of extras or a nice set, so it's just like, this.
I'm pretty sure they filmed those people just like maybe an afternoon. They got all that done, finished, stamped.
There are some great deliveries from those guys too. That just this movie's great, Tony. It makes me smile. It was. I saw it like here's the thing. Like a lot of times you'll see a B movie and there's the cover, right? And the cover is great. It's a giant dinosaur popping up out of the ocean, is going roar, and you're like, okay, I'm into that. He's called Poseidon Rex. He's a T-Rex, but he's in the water. That's a cool idea. How are you going to ruin this? How are you going to make this the most tedious hour and 30 minutes of my life?
Well, it definitely wasn't tedious. There was never any time, like, there was barely enough time to rest between action sequences.
Well, right, but I'm saying a lot of times it's either the characters or the way they're played or, the pacing of the movie where you're just like, I want to see some giant fish eat some other giant fish or a snake or something. Whatever was on the cover, that's what I want to see. And also some people having fun with it and not having stupid. Anyway, it was just this delivered. It delivered on the promise of the cover. There was a giant aquatic dinosaur, and it didn't make me hate it.
And it even looked like it this time.
It did, yes. I actually really like the design of the P-Rex thing because it was a basic T-Rex dinosaur, but then you have the fins and stuff on it, the little stuff
they
coming
get
off.
Like a giant longer tail, which would make sense for an aquatic creature, all that.
Yeah. I mean, it doesn't make sense when it's standing up in 800 feet of water and its head's coming out of the water, but whatever.
Yeah.
They needed to be able to chomp down on the guy in the boat, so.
Yeah. I like how it just presented for so long, and then would attack. It was just looking menacing and roaring and doing all of its thing for 10 seconds, and then all of a sudden it would just go down on the boat.
Well, what are you gonna do, Tony? You gonna like run away? Are you gonna jump in the water and swim? It's gonna
I
get
think
you.
I would. You could have just gunned the boat and possibly got away with how long it was monologuing.
Aw, it would have monologuing. I was gonna say the boat would have stalled out. You would have been like, burn, burn, burn. Get it started. Ah, where are the
Like the
keys?
first guys.
Exactly. You just can't start the boat, Tony. You can't get away from P-Rex. P-Rex is coming for you. He's here for your soul. And your body,
T-Rex
too.
can only afford to license one song as well.
Oh my god! I'm glad you brought that up. I almost forgot to talk about it.
Well, Teyama.
I want your name, I want your number. Dun, dun. Ah, no, like
Every
of
time.
all the things to spend money on. I'm having a bowel movement here and also being disgusted by the. Oh, how bad that was. That song was the worst song ever, and they
It
played
made
it.
sense for the opening model or the opening scenes whenever you're showing a bunch of happy people on the beach and everything. Made sense once.
It was terrible even then, Tony.
It was, but I'm just saying it made sense why they would choose that.
Well, okay, but then like sometimes they're like they play it on the radio a couple times. We're like, okay, we need these people to be listening to the radio, and I don't know, just there is like stock music stuff that you could get that's much better than that. Just put that in your movie. It doesn't have to be like a pop song. I mean, I say pop. Pop is short for popular, and this is obviously not popular, but you know what I'm saying. It doesn't need to be a band
Yeah.
that you paid $500 to use their song over and over and over in your movie.
Sure, they could have got some public domain stuff.
I feel like they could have, Tony. You could just like put the
I'm pretty
Scott
sure that
Joplin's
song's
ragtime
going-
Maple Leaf Rag in there. That would have been more believable.
I'm pretty sure they used that twice in major chase scenes too.
Did
Like,
they?
it was just going on in the background because it was on the, like you said, it was on the radio every time anyone turned it on. Apparently, that's like the #1 hidden Belize.
Oh, those poor Belizeans. Oh man, that song is so bad. I might put it. No, I
It's so
probably
tempting.
won't, but it would be cool to put it over the intro to the video.
I think we might. Like, I don't think that would work with YouTube unless we like altered it to make it all slow, make it sound like it's death metal or something.
I don't know. Okay, I don't know what that even means.
It means like you slow it down to about a quarter speed so it doesn't trip any copyright and it sounds all low and crazy.
Well, that's just like underhanded, Tony.
I could probably put it in the actual audio podcast.
Well, I'll let you do that if you want to. I'm gonna be editing this video on vacation, watching myself do all this all over again. Hi, future self. Have fun editing this. Everybody else is out
We'll
having
take care
fun.
of
Watching television or something, probably. Yay.
Yay, editing.
Do you have anything else you wanted to say about this movie, Tony?
I don't think so, man. There's not a whole lot else to cover. Like
They set it up for a sequel at the end. I kind of want to see that now. I will say, like, I do want to add, because of the sequel thing, they talk about this thing had laid eggs, and they really present like the possibility of a P-Rex takeover of the Earth as a very real thing.
Yeah, there's like 20
if this
of them.
thing starts reproducing, who knows how fast it could ultimately be like population in the millions. You don't usually see a movie like normally it's just like us versus the monster, but no, they lay out like, hey guys, exponential, growth of population here. That's going to be a problem. And then at the end of the movie, they show the eggs hatching, and they even like the heroes even be like, oh, what about the eggs at the end? And then they're just like, well.
As they're walking hand in hand off to go find like a hut to have sex in.
Oh, that, by the way, that also annoyed me. I did
What?
not buy the chemistry between Ann McDaniels and whatever that dude's name was.
Yeah.
I was like, you just forced
Whatever.
some dumb romance in here in my awesome T-Rex movie. Why couldn't she just be in a bikini and then in a lab coat? Why couldn't that
And
be
like
the thing?
You didn't have like the full naked payoff either. You got to see her in a bra, which was less revealing than the bikini she was in earlier.
Stop complaining, Tony. I'm not gonna.
I'm just saying if you're gonna shoehorn a romance in, you gotta at least
okay. Yeah, I get what you're saying. But it didn't work, and that's a dumb thing to say about it. But that was my one complaint when I was watching this movie. I was enjoying the whole thing, but I was like, really? they put a dumb, like, they had sex while they were being hunted by the dinosaur scene in here. That, I mean, honestly, I felt like a lot of the character motivations in this were fine. Like, although I found the character kind of annoying, I liked the boyfriend and girlfriend dynamic between the two guys that get killed off kind of earlier.
Yeah.
Where...
Well, boyfriend lasted a while. He, like, accidentally launched himself off the boat with an RPG.
Yes, but I'm saying, like, the whole thing between him and his girlfriend, and he's like, I'm going to go after this goal, and she's like, don't do this. It's not safe. And then, like, she's mad at him, so she goes off with some other people, and, you know, some other guys are hitting on her, and she kind of initially is like, yeah, but then once she gets to the party, she's like, I'm really not into this. I kind of bought all that sort of character moments. It wasn't anything deep or big, but I was just like, you know what? I buy that she would go to the party because she's mad at him, but then not, like, actually, you know, be cheating on her boyfriend just because he went to look for some gold. You know, I felt like that particular moment rang true, and a lot of the character stuff pretty much worked. Although some of the, like I said, like, I bought that Ann McDaniels wanted to go out and find the thing. Like, she's like, I don't care about the gold. I just want to go and find a new thing. It didn't make sense that she thought there was a dinosaur just because they found some dead guys. But, I mean, once she thought there was a dinosaur, it made sense. Okay, well, obviously she'd want to go and find it because she's a scientist trying to study immortality. What?
What'd you think of that egg scene?
I really like that.
Yeah,
I thought it was really good when they get the little dinosaur out of the egg. I thought the special effects on that were really good for the budget I know this movie had to be shot on. Yeah. That was really well done. How they managed to make all that work out and everything.
Yeah, and then throw it in the fridge.
Yeah, and then the way that paid off with the gangster, you know, like popping the fridge open and the thing gets him. All that worked. I really like that. That was actually probably one of the best scenes in the movie as far as special effects, I thought, because you really, I mean, it's very, very low budget CG. So, I mean, you can nitpick and be like, well, that doesn't quite look real, but it looked as real as I would have expected in this movie to look. It didn't look like, that's the dumbest thing I've ever seen. It wasn't anything like that. It was just like, okay, I am okay with this special effect. This is a pretty well done, you know, tiny CG dinosaur.
At least this movie kind of stuck to scale. Like, there were a few times where it looked a little bit different, but that's always been something that bothered me with certain Asylum movies, where all of a sudden, like, Mega Shark is bigger than an entire cruiser, and then it's small enough to, like, be fighting a gator that fit on the back of a truck, and then just
the gator grew, Tony. It got bigger. They swell up when you put them in the water. It was out of the water when you know how that works. It's salt water, too. The salt gets in there. It swells them up.
It's like those things you buy whenever you're 5. It's like, put the alien in a jar. It's the size of a pill, and then it becomes a full-size alien later.
That's exactly right. Yeah, see, that's how that works. Anyway.
I think that's about it for Poseidon Rex this week.
What are we doing next week, Tony? Do you know? You want to hear? We haven't talked about this, but I have one picked out for next week.
Yeah.
All right. For the people watching at home and want to watch the next video that we're going to watch, and this one's on Netflix, I'm pretty sure. We're gonna do an Asylum movie, Tony. This one's by the Asylum, the Global Asylum Incorporated. You ready? You're holding on to your seat?
I am literally holding on to my seat.
It's called Mercenaries.
Didn't you say this was one of the better ones?
Yes, it is. Listen, this is a celebration of schlocky movies, Tony. We don't have this month so we can complain about how terrible they are. All right? Everybody else on the internet can do that. We're looking for the fun. This is a fun movie, but it's by the Asylum, fairly low budget. Has some really, really cool female leads in it, including Cynthia Rothrock. You know who Cynthia Rothrock is, Tony?
She was... she's usually in the Asylum movies. She's the brunette, isn't she?
No. She's like a Russian former bodybuilder turned actress woman who played in a lot of really like low budget B movies in the 80s and 90s, I think. She's very good in this. She plays a great villain. We'll talk about that next week. So stay tuned for that. I did want to in the name of B movie month, Tony, though, I have devised a little game that I want you to play with me.
All right.
You know how that some of these absurd and crazy and over-the-top movies with very, very small budgets have silly names?
Yeah.
Or just outright crazy, outlandish names. Well, I have spent a little bit of time culling some of these names and also coming up with some fake ones. And here's what I want you to do, Tony. I'm going to read you these names. I have a list of 5. At least one of them is real and or not real. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like, there may be 4 of them that are not real and one that is real, or vice versa, but it's not a stacked deck.
All right.
So I'm not going to tell you how many of each there are, but you're going to guess. I'm going to read you the names of these movies, and you're going to tell me whether it's a real movie or not.
Okay.
Are you ready? And bonus points if you can describe what the movie's about.
All right.
All right. Movie title number 1. The Skin Reapers. Is it real or is it fake?
I'm going to go with real on that one.
And what kind of movie do you think that would be, Tony?
I'm going to say that this is some sort of, like, little... It's going to be some sort of little creatures that, like, literally cut up the skin and, like, take it away, so you get all these, like, just red bodies, like, hanging from the ceiling or whatever.
Oh, so they're, like, slightly bigger than insects, and they just, like, strip the skin off the... like in a swarm?
Yeah, like a little swarm of these alien insect things that just take the skin away, and eventually you figure out what they're making.
And it's a giant person! Well, that sounds like a great idea, Tony, and it's open for us to do because you are wrong. That is not a real movie.
Okay. There's a free idea for somebody.
Number dos. Spider Baby.
I really hope that's a fake movie.
Is that what you're going with? You going with fake?
Only because I don't want to, like, even think that it exists.
If it did exist, Tony, what would it be about, do you think?
It would be about the time that Batman reproduced with a spider accidentally.
Is it Batman?
Yes. Because I was thinking of Batboy.
Okay. I'm just imagining a woman giving birth to a giant spider and how horrifying that would be.
Just like legs crawling out.
I know! Right?
Just the look on the doctor's face as it, like, face hugs him.
Yes, exactly. That needs to be in a movie, and maybe it is, because although I haven't seen it, that one is real, Tony. You got that one wrong, too.
I'm 0 for 2.
Okay. Here's another one. Is this real or is this fake as a title of a movie? Robinson Crusoe on Mars.
Robinson Crusoe on Mars. I'm going to say that one is fake.
That one's fake.
Okay.
No, I'm asking you. I'm clarifying your question. I'm not saying it is, Tony. I'm just clarifying that's what you're asking?
Yeah.
Okay. If it was real, what would it be about?
It's already real. It's the Martian.
Okay.
By Andy Weir.
We were just talking about this before the podcast. You're reading that, and they're turning it into a movie.
Yeah, it's an excellent book. Like, I've been unable to stop. I was telling Brophy, I probably don't even have a half-hour day to read on this thing, and I binged like 4 hours yesterday.
Well, I might have to download that for my vacation and spend a little money and have something to read in the car while I'm driving down to see this ill-fated castle. Yeah,
you might, you could definitely get it for Audible and listen to it with your wife. That'd probably be a good road trip one. There is a little bit of cursing in it, so I don't know if you want the kids hearing that, though.
Yeah, that's a little bit of a problem. I have a Terry Pratchett book I've downloaded that is, I think that should be fairly clean. So we're not worried about that. But to stay on topic with the game, you were wrong again. Robinson Crusoe on Mars is a real movie.
I'm bad at this game.
You are really bad at this game.
I want to know if people playing at home were getting...
Well, Robinson Crusoe on Mars is actually on Netflix. You can go watch that right now. Or at least it was. So,
it's just angering.
All right, we have 2 more, Tony. So this is the second to the last one. You've gotten 3 wrong so far. Do you want to, try for some kind of, you have to get at least one of these right.
Can I get a lifeline?
Phone a friend? Yeah. I am the friend that you would phone on this, Tony, and I have all the answers, so...
I just use my phone.
What?
I would phone my phone to see what it is.
All right. Oh. So, next to the last one, Soul of the Zombie.
Soul of the
Is
zombie.
that real or is that fake?
Is it spelled S-O-L or S-O-U-L?
Soul.
Okay. That one has to be fake.
Okay. If it was real, Tony, I'm not saying it is or it isn't, but if it was, what would it be about?
It would be about a kind-hearted zombie going on a romantic romp with various other zombies.
Maybe it's a dog. Maybe it's like a zombie dog and it's zombie owner. That'd be good.
They're just trying to unite, even though like the dog got taken away by some other group of people.
Oh, this is completely off topic, by the way, and I'll tell you whether you're right in a second. But have you seen the trailer for this movie, White God?
I have not.
It's like, you know how Planet of the Apes was like about an ape that got intelligent and then like got put in with a bunch of other apes and then escaped and tried to go back home to its owner, and bad things happened eventually. Well, White God is that movie, but with dogs.
Interesting.
Like, they send this dog out into the world. Like, this girl owns this dog, and the dad's like, you can't have the dog. And apartment rules don't allow it. So he, like, just takes it out to the edge of the city and drops it off. And it gets caught by the pound, and the dog gets put in the pound, and all of the dogs break out of the pound. And it's with all real dogs. There's no CG dogs in this. The trailer looks freaking amazing. I want to see it. It's like a Belgian movie or something. I don't know exactly. It's in a foreign language film. But super, super cool looking.
Well, at least there's not going to be a whole lot of subtitles whenever it's just dogs barking at each other.
Well, yes, okay. That's true. However, they did, the review I read praised the performances of the dogs and said that they were very convincing as the characters they were supposed to be. So that was cool. By the way, to get back on track with the game, you got that one right, Tony. Soul of the Zombie, not a real movie. It is
25%.
fake. So let's make this one... for all the marbles, just if you get this one right, Tony, I'll say we'll let you. This one's worth 2 points, okay?
All right.
So you will have let's say tied
5 or something. Yeah, it would be 50-50 if I get this one right.
So
I can math.
You can tell yourself that you were half right. This movie, is it real or is it fake? Jesse James meets Frankenstein's daughter.
That sounds real.
Dang it, you got it. I don't even need to ask you to describe that one. It's Jesse James and he meets Frankenstein's daughter. What are you going to do? They probably get it on, or he shoots her, or both.
At the same time.
Bow, chicka, bow, wow. He's into that. She's like a zombie thing, so he can shoot her, and it doesn't.
I like the way they squirm. That's one thing The Walking Dead hasn't quite covered. You know it's happened. Someone strapped out a zombie.
Oh, yeah. Have they not done that? I feel very confident that Z Nation's going to do that, like, next season. I mean, they've gone, like, all of the places you can go with the zombie show. So, I'm very excited for that. Not, okay. I made that sound wrong. I'm not excited. They can't see that part of my body.
Can't you see the Salon.com article right now? Like, Albert Berg endorses zombie rape.
Say brains if you consent. Brains. All right.
That was a very enthusiastic brain zombie. You're kind of creeping me out right now. At least with the World War Z zombies, they're not really decaying if you go by what the book says.
But, I mean, they're drying out. Like,
yeah. They're drying out a little bit, but they're not decaying in the same way. It's like the reason why they're not, like, why they could be under the ocean. Nobody understands why they're not decaying.
I think that World War Z is trying to just patch up as many holes in the idea of zombies as it possibly can by sort of just, like, obfuscating over here and hand-waving over here and be like, guys, it just kind of works, all right? Like,
yeah, like they say that
we have a cool story.
The only reason that zombies would smell isn't because they're, like, rotting corpses. It's because, like, they ate something that's rotting in their stomachs. But otherwise, they're not rotting themselves.
Oh, is that what it is?
Yeah.
I guess dead bodies don't rot that long after decomposition. I mean, after they're not like, they don't smell bad after like 20 years or something.
Yeah.
Everything gets done and then it just sort of dries out.
Yeah. It gets all desiccated and everything.
That was one problem I had with Tomb Raider. I would play in Tomb Raider, Tony. It's a really good game, but like she opens his coffin, it's like super old at one point. I'm like, there's no way it should be still smelling. Why is it still?
Well, if it was air sealed, it would still smell.
You think? Maybe. I guess.
It's not like air, like all those gases are going to go anywhere.
Yeah. I think it's
But,
settle or whatever. I don't know. Just roll with me here in my cynicism. I want to be angry about something.
So punching, you could bottle it. Just like put it in a jar like a kid in a fart.
Can you do that?
I have no idea.
I've never tried that, Tony. Now I'm strangely curious. Next time I feel one coming out, I'm going to get a jar and see what happens. I'll report back in a week. I'll fart before I go on vacation, and when I come back, I'll open it up and be like, I'll tell
Your
you.
wife is just going to be so confused.
AJ's gonna find it, like, crack it open. Run around the house with it, break the jar. Yay. Kids are not fun sometimes.
Oh, yeah, I've seen some of your tweets about it recently. I can't imagine.
It's not as bad as all of that all the time, but there are moments when you're like, I empathize with that lady from the Babadook. I know what that's like. In fact, JRD Skinner even, like, tweeted me when I was tweeting about, like, I don't know how people don't hate their kids sometimes. I know that's mean to say, but how do you not? I hate my kids sometimes, Tony. That's a very, very bad thing to say. But, like, at 2 years old, when he's just running around screaming, and not even screaming, but just, like, you're trying to do something, and he just, like, won't leave you alone. I don't care that you're starving to death, kid. I've got work to do. Sorry. I don't want to make it sound too bad. I mean, I love my kid a lot. But there are times where you're just like, they just wear you down, Tony. They just take their toll. Being a parent of a 2-year-old and a 6-month-old is a hard job, and I'm not even here all the time.
Yeah.
My wife has to do it all the time. Because I go to work and she stays here with them, and then she's by herself with the little monsters.
And then after whenever you finally come home at night, like, she's probably passed out.
Well, yes, because it's 1 o'clock in the morning, Tony. Obviously.
I'm just saying, there's, like, no staying up late for you after, like, dealing with them all day.
I'm discouraged if I get home and she's not passed out. If she's up, I'm just like, oh, this is the worst. Like, this is going to be miserable. She's tired now. Like, she's going to be tired all tomorrow, and I've got to do podcast stuff, and I'm tired because somebody told me we were doing podcasts yesterday, Tony.
No, you said, never mind, we're just going to go with normal time.
Yes, like, which is 10 o'clock.
Which is Saturday. See, that's what I thought. And the thing is, I was sitting there at work like, I should have just ditched work.
Well, I'm really sorry. No, it was, I understand that it was a miscommunication. It was not your fault or my fault.
Trouble, though.
It was me sitting at work in the bathroom, like, trying to work out scheduling with you for the next day. And, like, not being able to give my full attention to the texts that we were sending. So there's a little insight into the the glamorous life of being on the Human Echoes podcast.
That's why
texting each other in the bathroom from Walmart.
You can tell who's a professional sometimes just by how they detail stuff. Like whenever I talk to Bill O'Burst or Ellie or some of these other people we've had on, and they're like, "Okay, just to clarify, you're talking about like 324 at 0800 hours."
Yes, that definitely helps. Well, we've been doing this a long time, Tony, so I mean, if you're going on with somebody that you haven't met before, usually you want to be 100% sure. We know that we can fudge things around and figure out some kind of solution one way or another. So
communication is harder than it seems, though.
It is, especially via text.
Yeah.
But
if only we had these magical devices that we could talk to each other on.
I don't want to call you. I don't know what you're doing. I like the text is great because you can get it on your own time. If I'm working and I get a text from you, and I can be like, "Well, I'm busy right now. I can't respond. When I get on my break, I'll send him back."
Yeah, if I call you at work, there's probably something wrong.
Yeah, like really wrong. Like, I don't know. I'm trying to imagine the emergency that you would call me for at work. Like, it would be
like, our entire podcast database has been deleted. Do you have backups?
I will save you the trouble of that. No, Tony, I don't have backups of all the podcasts. I don't have them all downloaded on my computer. I have better things to do. That would suck, though.
Yeah, now I'm all paranoid. I might have to do that this week.
Just in case.
Just in case.
At least the audio. At least
Yeah.
the audio. The video, hopefully YouTube can keep their act together, but they're a pretty well known
Yeah,
people.
they're established at this point, I think.
Oh, hey, by the way, did you hear, Tony, that Steven Spielberg is going to direct Joseph Devon's favorite book into a movie?
I heard that Ready Player One.
Ready Player One, that Joseph Devon just loves that book so much. And all of its wonderful 80s references to things that 100% mattered in the 80s. Like video games like Zork and war games.
I wonder how many references were actually to Steven Spielberg's work. Like, I know there were some E.T. references and things like that, but
I don't know. Like,
I'm trying to remember. There were so many references to that book. There's probably a Wikipedia page that's just like a long list of everything referenced.
the worst part about that is that you're not going to get all that in the movie.
Yeah, think
Like,
about the licensing costs of
There's
all
so
that.
much licensing. You've got oh man, I don't even remember. You could probably get Zork, Tony. I don't know who owns Zork, but like they can't be charged an arm and a leg for you to include the original text adventure in your movie. But
The war
all of
games
those
thing.
old classic video games that show up in there at one point or another. I mean, you can sort of direct the concept. I almost am more excited for the movie than I was for the book. While I don't necessarily share Joseph's absolute disdain for Ready Player One, we were joking about it being his favorite book. I feel like it's a little bit overrated in nerd culture.
A little, but I had a lot of fun listening to it.
It's a fun book. Okay, but here's the thing, Tony. It's not good, is what I'm saying. It's fun because it's making reference to all that stuff that you like, and the hero wins in the end because he has all this knowledge of 80s video games. But that does not necessarily make it a good story.
Yeah,
Like, this
and
is
I mostly
Twilight for nerds. And I mean that in the nicest possible way, by the way. Twilight is this great sort of wish fulfillment fantasy for, many, many ladies. They're like, oh, yes, there's this dark, handsome, rich, powerful stranger that shows up, and he loves me just because of who I am. He can see my deepest soul, and he loves it. And he sweeps me off my feet, and we have adventures together. Like, that's Twilight, and that's cool. It's not great literature, Tony,
It's
but
not cool, but it's good for those people.
right. And I feel like that Ready Player One is essentially the same movie, or the same thing, but for nerds. It's like, I save the world and get the girl because of my extensive knowledge of 80s, obscure video games. Yay! I mean,
But
I
it's a
enjoyed
realistic
reading it,
fucking
Tony. I wasn't
still
like, I
picture.
wasn't cringing as I read it, but I did sort of feel like, okay, guys, this is okay. But yeah. I guess I'm probably made a lot of people angry with that comment, and I'm sorry. I don't like to be super negative. I very much enjoy saying nice things, and I'm not saying it's a bad book or that you're a bad person for liking it or anything, but I feel like it's a little bit overhyped.
Oh.
Personally, I really do. I get very discouraged by negativity, Tony.
Well, you latch on to negativity because you don't really filter it like I do. Like I read negativity, I'm like, whoa, that person's a douche, and then just move on, and
But it's
you'll
a
see
communal thing. It seems like anywhere I go on the internet where I'm like, people are okay, so I kind of got away from Reddit for a while, which I got back to it recently. Maybe I'll talk about that in a second because that was ridiculous too. But I was like, well, I like getting movie news and stuff, so I kind of latched onto this movie news site. It's kind of indie-ish, sort of my flavor of movies, called Badass Digest.
Yes.
I'm reading Badass Digest, nearly every day, looking for stuff to talk about on the podcast, looking for things that interest me or whatever. Wolf Cop! It's a cop who's a wolf. Werewolf.
The director of Wolf Cop follows us on Twitter, I'm pretty sure.
Does he?
I was looking at stuff
I
the
don't
other
know
day.
if that, I started watching that the other day. I don't know if that qualifies as a B movie, per se. It's an indie movie, and it's got kind of B things, but I don't think we can talk about it
The
this night.
title!
No, the
Wolf
title's
Cop.
awesome.
Wolf
And
Cop!
it
That's
kinda-
a B movie!
Again, I haven't finished watching it, but what I've seen really seems to deliver pretty well on. Anyway, yes, I'm liking it as far as I've seen it. But no, so I get on there and I click through this article. It's something about Kevin Smith directing Mallrats 2, which I'm not a huge fan of the original. I didn't see the original Mallrats, so I have no opinion. But I get in here and all these people just dumping on Kevin Smith and how he's just so self-absorbed and he just wants to make these weird movies now for no budget. And I'm like, what is you people's problem? I don't get it. I don't understand the hatred of people who want to make a thing, Tony. You want to make a thing, that's cool. It may not be, you know what? Not everybody is Christopher Nolan and Steven Spielberg. All right? And they don't always make the same type of movies as that. And maybe they want to make something dumb and silly and cheap.
Yeah. And that's why he's making a trilogy called Yoga Hosers, because he wants to, because he quit filming because he was tired of people being shitty to him.
I hope he's still going to do that, finish that up, and do the
second movie's
Jaws.
Because I hope Moose Jaws happens.
You know, they talked about he's doing Mallrats too. It's like, well, what about your Canada trilogy? Did you finish that? Maybe he did. You know, I don't know that it would take a super long time to film all those movies, but I was really intrigued by Tusk. I didn't think it was the greatest movie of the year, but I thought that he put forward some very interesting stuff and pushed the boundaries in a way that, you know, a conventional movie is not going to generally do.
Yeah.
It wasn't, like I said, I'm not going to sing its praises ad nauseum, like, this is the greatest thing ever. I had some issues with it, but I was impressed that he put himself out there and said, I'm going to try this thing, and it's weird, and it's different, it's crazy, but I like the idea, and I'm going to make it. That's awesome! Even if it turns out crappy, that is awesome that you made a thing that you wanted to make.
Especially because we saw from inception to theater. Like we knew the story behind it. We grew with the movie.
Yeah, I mean, I guess because we were insiders and stuff, and I'm sure somebody's going to pull up something, well, why were you negative about this person or whatever, and I'm sure I'm guilty of it too. But generally, it just bothers me sometimes.
You're trying to be better about it, so, like, even if you fall into negativity sometimes, it does, like, so long as you're trying to be a positive person, who cares if you were negative sometime in the past?
It just bothers me that it's so pervasive, Tony, and especially in people, like, fandom communities where, you know, like, let's like things. You know, I mean, you don't have to be a fan of everything. You can say, well, I didn't really care for that. You know, I just said I didn't really care for Flavor 1. You don't have to be like, Ready Player One sucks. So dumb and overrated. I don't understand people who like it. Like, if you don't, you know, maybe it wasn't for you. Other people who are not me, loved Player One. And I don't want to take that away from them. I don't want to, like, just, like, bash them for liking something differently than I liked it. It's fine.
Well, there's a lot of people who drag on you for liking all these Asylum movies.
Yes, they would. And I mean, you know,
sometimes
I open myself up for that because let's be honest, there's some pretty bad movies, but I find ways to enjoy them.
Yeah, whenever you don't like Interstellar, but you love Mecha Shark.
Okay, they're on different levels, though, Tony. You know, I'm picking apart Interstellar as a blockbuster Nolan film. Mecha Shark delivers because it has a Mecha Shark and a Mega Shark, and they fight. And again, the people in it didn't irritate me to the point where I wanted to stop watching the Mega Shark and the Mecha Shark fight. Expectations are a thing there. I'm not saying that Mega Shark versus Mecha Shark is a better movie than Interstellar. I just probably watch it again first.
Yeah, and give it more stars on IMDb.
I don't rate things on IMDb, Tony. That's beneath me. IMDb sucks. These people who rate things on IMDb are terrible.
Someone submitted us to, like, the external reviews for Children of Sorrow. We get people finding our site through that, which was probably our best, like, singular review.
That was such a good movie.
We spent like 45 minutes just in depression over that movie. Hey, so I was wondering, have you heard about this Fanta controversy?
No.
The soda company, Fanta.
I know who Fanta is. Yes, I'm familiar with that. What is the controversy? That they make bad soda?
There's this interesting commercial where they're sitting there and they're talking about, like, what went into making Fanta, and they're talking about 75 years ago in Germany, we had to find the best ways to create a certain type of soda because of trade embargoes that were going on. And, like, people are thinking, wait a minute, what happened 75 years ago in Germany that would cause trade embargoes? It's Nazi soda!
Yeah?
And I just, like, there's this big, like, controversy happening over Fanta being, like, made in Germany during, the period of Nazis. And I just think it's funny to watch people's reaction to it.
It's not like that was unknown previously, Tony. I have heard people discuss this many times on the internet before.
Soda?
What?
I didn't know it was Nazi soda, and I don't know if I would be advertising that.
I don't know if I'd put it in my ad campaign, Tony. I feel like that might have been a misstep. However, it's not exactly like a secret. You could have found it out if you wanted to. I think there's one of the major tennis shoe companies that was also under. I think it's not Reebok, or is it Reebok? Anyway, one of them was founded under the Nazi Germany, and
well, it's like thoughts of interesting inventions come out of that. Napoleon made margarine.
Yeah. I mean, but listen, okay, Tony.
Volkswagen made
the
a lot of
Nazis were bad people, but I mean, I don't think that the guys who were in Germany saying "let's make a soda and sell it" are to blame for the atrocities
I'm just saying,
of the Nazi regime.
Do you really want to point out in your commercials nostalgia for the Nazi era?
They don't unless they're showing some goose-stepping soldiers in front of a swastika with the Heil Hitler sign thrown up. I don't feel like they're saying this. They're trying to establish their identity as a company. All right, that is an important part of branding, is saying we've been around for a long time. The problem with Fanta is people look at them as the unsoda, right? It's like the store brand soda you buy, only not quite. And they're trying to say, hey guys, it's not like we're just some upstart that, Piggly Wiggly puts out. We are a real soda company. We've been around for a long time. Unfortunately, the time we started to be around was kind of in a little bit of a bad time for Germany. Our soda still tastes good, though.
Tastes good or else.
I was thinking, no, I was going to make a very insensitive joke about some showers and Fanta and something.
I was thinking that exact same joke.
Unfortunately, I couldn't, it wasn't, I stopped myself partly because it was insensitive and partly because it wasn't a fully formed joke in my head. I was just like, ha, Nazis, they kill people. That's not a very funny joke, so.
If you don't like it, we've got a nice shower for you.
You're like, you can take a shower or you can drink this Fanta. I'll take the shower! Because the joke is that Fanta doesn't taste good, Tony.
It's okay.
That's the problem, is that
I don't mind that grape soda. But grape soda, once you're past 11 years old, starts getting a little weird.
It does, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I really used to like orange soda a lot. And every once in a while I'll have it, but it's just it's not something that I can be like, I'm going to have an orange soda now.
Yeah, Orange Crush used to be my thing back in the day. That and cream soda, and now it's meh.
You think that's a cultural thing, or do you think it's a taste buds thing?
I think it's a taste buds thing, because especially with grape soda, it's sweeter than every other soda.
Yeah.
And when you're a kid, you don't really have a tolerance for that. Now you try to drink it, and it's oh, your eyes twitching a little bit. I mean, it's in some ways it's still good, but you just can't handle it the same. Because I remember our Walmart had one of those 25-cent machines for the Walmart brand grape soda, and every time I went there, it was chugging a grape soda as I walked through the store.
Did you know that they bought there was an old? This is a whole interesting. I say interesting. It was interesting to me that Walmart went and bought an old 1905 or something brand for their grape soda. It's a brand as they bought the formula and the name Grapette. So now Walmart doesn't just have grape soda; they have the Grapette brand, which started way back in the day, back in the soda jerk, fountain days, and then kind of died off, and they sort of resurrected it. They're like, well, we think this is a cool name and has a cool history behind it, and people identify with it. So the great value grape soda is actually Grapette.
That's actually fairly interesting. It's like Dr. Pepper and everything, whenever it was sold as an elixir for health.
Yeah. I'm always fascinated that Dr. Pepper is its own soda company. It gets bottled, I think, and kind of mushed in with Coke.
It works with Pepsi and Coke, though. That's the thing.
Right. Yeah,
anytime you see one of those buy one, get one at a 7-Eleven or something like that, if it doesn't matter if it's for a Coke promotion or for a Pepsi promotion, you take a Dr. Pepper up there and it works for both.
Yeah, and they also work with Snapple. It blows my mind that there is a major soda company that is not Coke or Pepsi. Everybody knows Dr. Pepper, but in your mind you think, well, it's got to be one of those two, because those two are the soda companies. And yet Dr. Pepper's guys, we're over here. We make Dr. Pepper. We make Snapple. It's good stuff.
Surge is back, too.
Is it? No.
Yes, it is. My friend bought a case of it on Amazon this week.
On Amazon
Surge
doesn't count,
back.
Tony. If I can't go to the store and buy a jar like this, holding out my monster to the camera,
give it 6 months, it's back, man.
this is an actual jar of Monster Energy, by the way. It has like the screw top lid and everything. I'm in style today.
I went Red Bull this morning. I was chugging that.
I work better if I have it in little sips, Tony. You'll hear me every once in a while.
I gotta override my system, cash my adrenals, get a little bit sick from it, then I'll have energy.
Plus, I'm saving some of this for tomorrow because we're leaving today. We're recording this on Saturday morning. I'm leaving tomorrow night after church to drive for 5 hours to get to our hotel to be in Jacksonville for the first night of our day of our vacation. So, yay!
Well, just for the sake of Al's sanity, since he has to edit this while he's on vacation, I think we're going to wrap this up. You guys know the drill. HumanEchoes.com is the place to go if you want to support us. The best way to support us is through the PayPal link on the right-hand side. If you go there, you can subscribe, you can donate, you can do anything like that. It really, really helps us. It's like we love our subscribers. We love you, our listeners, too, but, subscribers are awesome.
You want to explain what subscribing is? I feel like most people know, but, that means that you give us money, and we love you forever because you help make the podcast possible.
Yep, and it's usually $1, $5, or $10 a month. We're thinking about adding some other options, so if you wanted to go for $2, you could do that, But it's the best way to support us because it's a direct cash injection. If you want to help us out otherwise, the best way to do that is to leave reviews. Every time we get a new review on iTunes, we all of a sudden get like a huge bump in listenership because it refers us from other programs. It's a really good way of helping us out. And also, if you want to help us out in a different way, the Amazon affiliate link is awesome. Click that. Whatever you buy from Amazon, after you click that, we get a percentage of. We also get to see what you dirty, dirty people are buying. No names, though. Just an item.
Yeah,
list.
just an item. We'll figure it out, though.
Yeah.
We know people.
Yeah.
The NSA. And some of them will be in the movie that we're going to watch next week, which is Mercenaries. Go watch it. It has Chloe Bell, I think the girl's name is. She's the one stunt woman from Death Proof.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
I like.
So it's got some legit talent. It's a fun female Expendables type movie before the Expendables made an Expendables with females. And also, it's not called Expendables. Because, oh my gosh. That name makes me angry, Tony. That's so dismissive. It's like, yes, you finally get your film after we've made 3 films with all the men, but we're going to call it Expendables. Oh.
It's unproduced.
Just call it the Estrogen Brigade. I mean, if we're going to be offensive, let's go all out,
Vagina violence.
We'll see you guys next week when we rebrand the podcast as Vagina Violence.
Can you imagine the logo? Anyway.
I can, actually.
Have a good one. Bye.
Bye.